Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Online Footprint Project. I'm your host, Ross McFarlane. Thank you so much for investing your time with us here today. If you're new to the Online Footprint Project, or OFP, we interview successful business owners and share their stories about how they got started to where they are today. We also make sure that they share actionable value so you can start applying it to your business today. Now, I'm big on feedback, so I'd love to hear from you as to what you thought of the show, what you liked, what you didn't like. Please leave me an email, ross@rossmcfarlane.com, or leave some comments on our YouTube channel, because if you want to watch the guests live and ask them live questions, then please join the Facebook group. Or if you're just happy to watch the videos, then YouTube is the best place to go. Let's go!
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Online Footprint Project. I'm your host, Ross McFarlane. Thank you so much for investing your time with us today. So very excited, Brianna Zajicek's come on. She's actually an 8-figure entrepreneur who's built and sold multiple companies. Her mission is to help people design a life and business they love in just 1 year. So Brianna, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really excited to have you on today.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for everyone listening at home, we've spoken before, and Brianna's doing some fantastic things. She's had a few companies in the past that she's sold. She's got a podcast that she has been working on. Some exciting things coming up. So, yeah, Brianna, let's just jump straight into how you got started with everything.
Yes. So I didn't have kind of the traditional path into entrepreneurship that a lot of people have, but I actually started when I was around 20 to 21 years old. And I helped build an IT company, and it was based on consulting and services, and took that from about 6 million to 40 million in 18 months. And then I just did branch out on my own and start some of my own companies. And since then, I have sold various companies, and I've also started my own other kind of consulting companies as well, which I've sold. I've had some AI companies and done a lot of cool things.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool. Well, I mean, who kind of mentored you in the early stages, or did you just kind of learn along the way? Because, being able to do that at 21 is phenomenal.
Yeah. So when I first started out, I had no mentors. I had no formal education, which is interesting because since then I've gone on to, get a college degree and go even further and work on my PhD, but I never really had a mentor until recently. And it's been hard for me to adjust to having a mentor when everything I've ever done, in business and in life so far has just been my instinct.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it can be a big difference between the two. But I mean, certainly in recent times, I've learned the importance of mentorship. But I mean, you've done so well along the way. And so now just to be able to take to that next level, no doubt it's going to have a profound effect for you.
Yes, I can't wait.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Because I mean, if, you've done it along the way on your own, I mean, imagine the difference between now getting help from others that have done the same or done even further, maybe had like, exactly. I don't know, 9 figures, who knows? So yeah, that's really cool.
Looks like I'm excited to see kind of where I go, especially with what I'm working on right now.
Yeah, cool. So are we, is this all hush hush? Are you able to open up a bit about what you're currently working on?
Up to. So I started back in, I'd say 2015, working in artificial intelligence as a researcher. And really when I first started out, I was trying to figure out, how do entrepreneurs think and how do successful entrepreneurs think? That was kind of the basis of how I got started. And I went from that to kind of thinking through how, if you have a Shark Tank type room and you have some VCs and people are coming in and they're pitching them an idea, there's this instant, almost gut reaction within the first few seconds that almost any of the people listening can tell you if this person's going to be successful, if they're not going to be successful. So as a cognitive scientist and an AI researcher, my thought was, how do we replicate that in AI? How do we have an AI which can instinctually almost, or who has the patterns of success kind of built into it and can determine if someone's going to be successful as an entrepreneur or not? And when I started kind of diving down deeper and deeper into that, what I really learned is that the human mind is making complex calculations. And so if you've heard 10,000 pitches, by now you know what a good one sounds like, and not only just a good one, but a good person and all these other factors. And you've actually built your own pattern of success internally. So what I wanted to do is say, okay, we know this pattern of success, and a lot of it has to do with the way the entrepreneur thinks. And all the cues that a lot of people are looking for is, how is this person thinking? Because more so than the idea and more so than the execution is the person.
Absolutely.
And so I've worked to develop an algorithm that would predict if an entrepreneur would be successful or not. And throughout that, kind of came up with what I consider the science of success. And wanting to take that and really share it with the world is where I'm at right now. I took everything I kind of learned from that and said, you know what, we have a ton of answers. We know what makes people successful. We've studied it for years. We know what makes people happy and successful and fulfilled. But the issue is that all of that's put into scientific journals, which only, researchers and their friends read. No one else reads that. Even if you know how to apply it, it's just data, it's just knowledge. And so how do we really take what we know and give it to the person who wants to wake up tomorrow and apply it to their life and figure out how to be successful? So I developed what I call the 1 year project. And the goal of that is to take the science of success and fulfillment and build it into where, if you're looking to rapidly change your life, design a life you love, a business you love, and do that in just 1 year, what would you wake up every day and do? How could you apply the knowledge and the science that we know about how to be successful?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's really interesting. Like, that's really cool. So I guess with that, like, have you even managed to like figure that out? Obviously, I know it's going to be a lot of maths and stuff that we won't get into. I'm definitely not a maths kid. But yeah, I mean, just to be able to even attempt facilitating that is just wow. I mean, yeah, how has this really come about?
So it came about, sort of, I say it's my life's work, which is interesting because from someone who's traditionally, I like to build companies and sell them and move on to the next thing, the next cool idea, the next cool idea. I'm in this interesting place with the 1 year project where, because I feel like it's my life's work, I'm in no rush and I'm not planning to do anything next. I'm just planning to further this.
Yeah.
So when I first started out, it was really a personal journey. I said, you know what, before I start applying everything I know to other people, how can I apply it to myself and see how far I can get in 1 year? And at that particular time, I was at a point where I pretty much had everything. I had the nice house, I had the nice cars, I traveled the world, I had a lot of money, I'd made a lot of money, I had an 8-figure company, I'd done pretty much everything, but I didn't feel successful, I feel happy and feel fulfilled. So I thought, how do I figure out this problem and apply all of this to myself and give myself 1 year to fix that and to design a new business that I love. And then if it works on me, I'll start sharing my story with the world and hopefully they'll pick up. So that's kind of how it started. I started sharing things on social media about my own 1 year project. Other people became interested. And since then it's kind of snowballed into what I consider my life's work now, which is really just helping people design a life and a business that supports the kind of life that they want to live.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That's cool. I mean, because the where you've come from as well to be able to get to where you are now. I mean, you've done just significantly well, but I mean, it's fantastic that you really want to go to the next point, because it's interesting that you say, you've done all these things and you've had these 8-figure companies, but you didn't feel successful or fulfilled. So that's interesting, that the mindset there to really, I guess, want to help others.
Was that really, it's not just about setting a goal and achieving a goal that makes you feel successful. If you don't know how to set the right goals or design the right business or design the right life that's actually aligned with who you are and your core motivations as a person, then you'll end up achieving it but still not feeling the way that you want to feel. And so a lot of my work revolves around figuring out your core motivations and the mindset that you possess and the desires that you possess. Because somebody might say, I want a Ferrari. But some person actually just wants a Ferrari because it's cool and they want to race it. And another person wants their parents' respect because their dad always liked fast cars, right? And the other person pull up somewhere and be the center of attention. And so if you can really understand those cues and solve those issues, then, and also design the right business for the right person. I think we have this habit of seeing someone who's successful and we see that they're traveling and we see they have the money and we see that they have the business and the following on social media and everything that we want. So we go out and we try to do what they did. But not all of us want to live the same life. Not all of us want the same business. So, some of us want an office with 10 employees and, looking over the city, and other of us want, virtual assistants to be sitting on a beach in Bali, sipping a coconut.
Yeah.
So the way you design those two businesses is very, very different. And just, there's so many things that factor into what does a good life look like for you? What does a good business look like for you? And a lot of it comes just down to something very, very simple. If, you had a blank calendar in front of you, how would you spend your time? And what does that ideally look like? Because you can remove all the things you hate, but if you don't have good things to fill it back in with, then you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're really just on almost a treadmill mentally. It's like where you're going. And everyone pivots and shifts. Like when I first started out, like I was purely money driven, like that was it. But since the journey's progressed, like I've opened up so much more to actually, I figured out that I actually enjoy helping people. So that's now been my new focus, because like the differences there are quite profound in that obviously I still like getting paid, but like helping people, I actually get joy out of that and fulfillment out of that. Whereas before it was just how much can I earn in how little a time? So
and it also changes. And that's something to respect, is that as you change and as your life changes, your dreams will change, your goals will change, the right business for you will change, the right life for you will change. And being able to adapt and continually recreate your own business or a new business or your current life or a new life that matches what your, changing needs and desires are.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it was interesting you mentioned about with, do you want 10 employees in an office overlooking the city, or do you want a bunch of VAs or virtual assistants to then live on a beach? And that's I'm so torn with that. Like I love using my VAs, but then at the same time, it's like, well, an office over the city would be nice, but then it's like, do I really got to pay them the extra, like $50 an hour?
Yeah. And it's also interesting as well because, we tend to, everything on social media highlights the bright side of things, right?
Yeah.
And so the person who's sitting on the beach drinking a coconut, and maybe we're associating that to just less stress. But what we don't see is that it's more complicated for them to file taxes, that they're living out of a suitcase, that they're having visa issues, that their internet's not always good, that they're getting more like food poisoning more often. Like we don't see the other side of it.
Exactly.
And the thing with the office in the city, like we don't see that now they have to have formal HR and now this and now that, and now they have somewhere to be and all sorts of things. And so I think really just defining who you are and the life you want to live it's kind of difficult. And then to design the business that answers that. Because there's I've talked to like stay-at-home moms who are like, I actually just want to work from the time I drop my kid off until they're done with school. And so you can actually design a business around that. And then I've talked to other people who are like, I want to work 8 months a year and vacation 4 months a year. Well, how do you design a business to accomplish that? And so there's all sorts of factors into this. Some people say, you know what, I want to work really hard for a few years and then I want to be able to automate my business. Someone else runs it and I take care of my parents, right? And so there's so many factors into who you are and the life you live and what motivates you and what drives you so that you can build the right business to where you don't ever feel trapped like you're still unemployed, right? Because I've been in that place where you feel trapped by your own success. Like, I don't want to answer my own emails from my own company today. What do I do?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that goes into figuring all of that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that one, as you mentioned, in regards to it is the flashy side of things on social media, but just bringing out the negativity of it as well is such a real thing to do. And I think I'm a big fan of discussing mental health, and it's something that I'm thankful that a lot more people are now more open to discussing this, and it's more of a conversation that can be opened. Whereas, say, even 10 years ago, if you spoke about mental health, it wasn't acceptable, like especially for a guy to do it. Like it really just wasn't the social norms. Whereas now it's a case of, okay, well, someone may be successful, but they have a bad day. But to be able to mention that as well, it gives you the real idea. So those that do put you up on a pedestal, they're like, oh shit, this is just a regular person. They've just had their goals set out and they've achieved them, but they're just like me. And that's something that's so important because like it happens all the time where like people will be doing fantastic. It's like, what about when you're having a bad day or a low time? And periodically, if that happens, I'll do a Facebook Live and be like, look, like, I don't mean to dwell on negatives, but today's been like a shit day. Like, but tomorrow will be 100 times better. So we just lost Brianna there for a second, but we're back. So yeah, we were just discussing mental health. Now, I mean, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I mean, as you said, like, I think it's so important to know your direction and know your goals, because I mean, to structure your life around your company is super, super important, because like, and I put my hand up, I'm very torn in what my end goals are, in that I know where I want to be, but to be able to facilitate that and get there, it's like, what path do I really want to go down? Because
and there are a million different paths to get anywhere. So, there's not one path to becoming a New York Times bestseller, no more than there's one path to becoming a successful entrepreneur. And I think kind of shedding some light in that, because a lot of people who sell solutions and sell their knowledge, they sell doing things their way. And you can get kind of pressured into thinking that their way is the right way, when the truth is that there are many, many right ways, and you've got to figure out what works for you.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Because like the office, and looking over the city is I think, an ideal scenario, but then also still sitting at the beach. So, and that's why I work with a lot of VAs. So I must have that flexibility where I can almost choose either. It's just like me in an office on my own, like, so. Yeah. But I mean, let's go into moving forward with your podcast that you've been working on. I'd love to hear about that, because I think plugging that will be something that the listeners will definitely enjoy hearing. So yeah, let's talk about that a bit.
So I have been interviewing people who massively transformed their life in 1 year. And my hope was not just to collect data and knowledge, but to share an understanding with people who want to design that dream life, design that dream business in just 1 year. What does it take? What ups and downs do you go through? What is it really like? What, sparked these people to stop? What kind of transformations can be made in 1 year? And really just showcase and spread more light into what you can potentially accomplish in 1 year, and what it would look like, and what you'd have to go through to do that. So that's one of my focuses for the podcast. And the other focus for my podcast is I take people who are looking to transform their life in 1 year, and I help them understand what should they aim for in 1 year, and then what would be a good plan for them to get there, and what's holding them back, and all those sorts of things. So you can kind of see both sides of it. You can see the people who've already done it, and you can see people starting out. And from that, I'm hoping that people will start their own 1 year project, and that's why just recently I launched a free course, which is helping people to launch their own 1 year project, because it's not just about me and the science of success. It's really just about everyone, and how can you maximize the time you're given here on earth, because we only have a finite amount of time, and we don't know how much time that is until it's gone. So how do we maximize the time we have to get the most out of it, and not necessarily the highest achievement or anything like that, but just to get what you want out of the time you have here.
Yeah, fantastic. And that's the thing. It's about, if you can, because we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If we can see what other people are doing, coming back to the very beginning when we mentioned mentorship, like if we can find people that are doing what we want to achieve and mimic them without copying them. We more so, when I say mimic, I mean more so kind of follow in their footsteps, but doing it our own way. That is going to be, yeah, exactly. And that's going to be so important in being able to speed up the facilitation of getting to where we want to go. So I think with what you've been doing is awesome, because being able to discuss with others that have achieved great things in only 12 months, it'll really give a good idea as to how they got there, and then how you can apply those same key elements to your own life.
And a lot of it's very motivating. It's very inspirational. When you see what some people have accomplished in 1 year, you're really going to look at what you're doing a little bit differently. And when you start to learn how they do it, you can start to learn, no matter what kind of change or end result you want, how to really engineer that for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. So where with the podcast itself, so is that launched now, or is that you're collating it?
June 1st, so T-minus a few weeks.
Awesome.
But I'm really looking forward to getting it out there. I know that there are a ton of people who've been waiting on it, and I can't wait to release it to everyone. In the meantime, my free course is up right now. It's bit.ly/1 year free course. And it is the best way to get started with starting your own 1 year project.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's cool. So with when the podcast does launch June 1st, so will that be you'll be uploading them all at once, or one every few days, or once a week?
Oh, I'm doing 3 episodes a week, and when I first launch, I'm gonna launch with an intro episode plus 3 regular episodes. So there'll be 4 when I first launch, so that anyone who wants to get a taste of what it's all about can go check it out.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, awesome. Because at the end as well, we'll just re-mention all those links,
Okay.
and then that way it makes it easy for everyone to find. And then in the comments as well, I'll put all that down. So that'll be good. So after, if you're able to send me the links, then I can post them. Because if you go on iTunes, YouTube, all that sort of thing. So yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, really exciting stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing it all come along and really grow, because I think that it's going to be something that can really help many people. So I guess, Brianna, who's your ideal client? Like for those listening at home, for those that you think you can help the most, who's that ideal person?
I think my ideal person is someone who has always known they're meant for more, always known they were made to make a mark in this world, and they've got big dreams and big ambitions, and maybe they've accomplished some things, but they still feel like there's a next level that they're missing, and they have these big dreams and big ambitions, but they aren't quite sure. They wake up every day and they're a little overwhelmed. What do I do today to get one step closer? And maybe they spend months or years going back and forth and working on things, but not really getting there. And so I think that's really the ideal audience is the kind of person who, thinks outside of the box. They're a high achiever, likely an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, or who, are a little bit thinking outside of the normal 9 to 5. And I help a lot of people who have a 9 to 5, know they're meant for more, and want to transition out of it over the course of 1 year. What would it look like if a year from now I didn't want to have a 9 to 5? That's one of the biggest questions that I help solve with a 1 year project. So that's a lot of the kind of people that I work with. But really, anyone can make a decision to change their life in 1 year, and anyone can set new goals and commit to them, and really follow the science of success. It just takes the decision to do so.
Yeah, fantastic. That's great. So everyone listening at home that's maybe got their pad and their pen and they're ready to go, what's some actionable value that you can offer for them to, I guess in this case, maybe to be able to apply some elements of that to their own lives if they are, say, stuck in the 9 to 5 at the moment, or, they're kind of going along their journey, but they want to take it to the next level. What's something they can do?
Well, I always say, whatever you're working towards, do 1 action per day. Because, we always hear it in physics that a force in motion will stay in motion. So someone progressing towards their dreams will stay progressing towards their dreams. So no matter what you do every day, if you could just do one thing that would help you get a little bit further, and if you're stuck and you don't know what that one thing is, then, try to come up with, a little bit of a mini goals for over 90 days or something, and say, if my end goal is to be a writer, then what kind of habits do writers have? If I want a New York Times bestseller, well, maybe I should be reading a book a month. Maybe I should be writing, 500 words a day, and really simplify it down into like a single daily action, a single habit, a single lifestyle change that you can, kind of implement, and that will help you get the ball rolling. Once you're writing 500 words a day, or you're reading a book a week, next thing you know, you're going to understand a lot more about what writing is like and what books are like, and you'll be that much closer to really getting where you want. So a good place to start is really just there. But no matter what, to always just stop and reevaluate, say, okay, now what's the next set of actions? But never to stop taking action, because I think we tend to overthink things and get overwhelmed. And when we do that, any action. So just pick an action, pick it from your heart, and take it every single day. And maybe that's listening to a podcast, maybe that's reading a book, maybe that's, just doing the kind of things that the person you want to become would do. And so a lot of times we think about things like, oh, I want to be a billionaire or multimillionaire, but I'm pretty sure the multimillionaire isn't driving around with like fast food cups all over their car, and I'm pretty sure. So like sometimes it's little things, of how do I start to think and behave like a successful person thinks and behaves, and what can you implement on a daily basis? It doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes the littlest shifts, they all add up, and next thing you know, you're operating at a different level and you're thinking at a different level. And really that's where the transformation changes. And so in the science of success, what we really learned was there's an entrepreneurial mindset. And so if you want to be successful, you have to adopt a successful mindset. And it's not something that happens overnight. So I can train you what success is, but you have to have these internal shifts. And so I think working on how you think and thinking more like who you want to become is very important. And if you're hanging out with the people you want to become, if you're reading the things produced by the people who you know are consuming the information from the people you want to become, the path to getting there will naturally get kind of wired into you. And so that's always a good place to start.
Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. And those little changes mentally is such a big difference. Like yesterday, I was talking to a friend, and debt came up, and I was talking about how good debt is good. Like, you're trying to extend beyond your means by, getting business loans and whatever else. And they're like, no, I never want to have any debt. I want to clear all my debt. It's like, no debt is good debt. And I was like, well, good debt's good debt. But yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because, some people, and some things are very personal as well, because
they're comfortable with that.
For some people,
that's all right.
Have that and not handle it, and then it stresses them out, and then they don't operate at the right level. And then other people are like, I'm willing to leverage this debt to make me 3 times more money and to grow faster. And so, and that all goes back to one of the core things, which is really knowing who you are. Because when you really know who you are, you design the right life and the right business, despite, any wisdom that could distract you.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, Brianna, this has been fantastic. I've, really insightful. I've learned a lot, and no doubt the listeners have as well. So just to reiterate, everything that you're doing, all the links you've got, so people can contact you. What's the best way for people to be able to contact you, download your free course, listen to your podcast? Where are they going?
So if you are on Facebook, I have a Facebook group called the 1 Year Project, Design Your Dream Life. If you're on Instagram, I am at the 1 year. If you are looking for my free course, it's bit.ly/1 year free course. And my iTunes link is coming, but it's going to be the 1 Year Project podcast. So look forward to that coming June 1st.
Yeah, awesome. No, that's cool. All right, Brianna. Well, yeah, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate your time today.
One question for you.
Please.
Where would you like to be? What would you like to have achieved? Who would you like to be 1 year from now?
That is a good question. I mean, there's so many things I want to achieve, but it's like in 1 year is realistic because I know it takes so long to get there. But
if I talk to you a year from now, where do you hope you are?
All right, in the next 12 months, realistically, I hope I've got, well, I say hope, but I mean, I'm working towards it, 15 staff. Now, VAs are fine. I'm fine with VAs. They're still staff members. So, look, 15 VAs and the wheels are turning on my company. And then things are coming along. So, basically, then I can focus on growing it further. So, in essence, it's automated so I can focus on the business development side of things and the growth of it.
So, you're managing the business, not, operating inside of it.
Exactly. So that way I can focus on the areas I want to focus on, the areas I enjoy spending my time. Yeah. And that's really where I want to be. So, I mean, look, ideally millionaire, but look, in 12 months, as much as I've seen it happen many, many times, that is like the 1%, and I'm not there yet. So yeah, being realistic. I mean, even if I made $500,000 in a year, because as I said before, initially I was very money driven. I have shifted though. And I think being able to help, basically making $500,000 in a year, but also being able to help 1,000 entrepreneurs would be fantastic. Like, I think that would be amazing. So they're two almost, they're not quite, they can be synonymous, but they can be conflicting at the same time. But I mean, if you're helping one individual,
align together, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I want to be. Basically, that's the money in the bank, that amount, and having helped that many people, that amount of staff, and my business in a position that it's just turning. So then I can really outsource or get my staff to focus on the areas I don't want to focus on, and I can focus on the business development side of things. And then ideally another 2 years, have it acquired and sold, and then I'd start it all again because I love the startup journey.
Awesome. I love your goals and look forward to checking in on you and seeing how it goes.
Yeah, thank you. All right, Brianna. Well, yeah, this has been fantastic. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we'll get this all up soon, and then yeah, we'll keep in touch.
Awesome. Thanks.
If you did get some value from this today, please leave a 5-star review on the podcast or check out our YouTube channel and leave a comment below. That would be so appreciated. Catch you next time.